Here we go. This is the takes. We're gonna go through Halo takes today. You insane people. Today, we are going down. Thank you, Cash. My name's Cash for sending me this. This is Sacred Icon Podcast. This is a good group of guys. So what's your opinion? What be respectful that you have about Halo that people give you a hard time for? No judgments here. We're gonna go through this, and we're gonna react to it and give people a hard time about it. And we're gonna go through Halo takes. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing today. Talking about good and bad Halo takes, which there's a whole Twitter on that, man. Bad Halo takes. There's a whole Twitter. Man, it's a good Twitter too. So, okay. This is negatively reviewed. The negatively reviewed podcast. Yeah. Spartan Assault wasn't that bad. It had pretty music and was fun. Was a fun little time waster. I agree. Same way that Fireteam Raven was great. Fireteam Raven was fantastic. What are you talking about? I love arcade shooters. But I agree. Spartan Assault was... Wait. Oh, I see. I'm thinking different. I thought they were talking Spartan Ops. But Spartan Assault was fun. I actually don't think I ever finished those games. But they were good. You know, they're top-down. If you don't know, Spartan Assault was the top-down shooter Halo games. They seem pretty fun. You know, it's definitely... Halo tried to step out and do different things. What a surprise. Not everyone's a fan of it. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be a fan of everything. You know what? It's just like Halo Infinite. If you don't like open world games, guess what? Halo Infinite isn't the game for you. Sorry, I know you'll have to wait a long time for another Halo game, but tough. Sometimes things are released and they're not made for you. But yeah, I thought they were fun. I like top-down shooters, and I like Fireteam Raven. I like arcade shooters, so I'm a fan of these. These were good. I agree. It wasn't that bad. Did it get bad ratings? I didn't even know. I don't even know it got bad ratings. I didn't think it did. So, deployables, Bubble Shield, Gravelift, are a huge reason that Halo was so great, especially in multiplayer. They need to bring them back. I disagree on this. I'm gonna be real. I hate equipment. Like, I don't mind the idea of equipment. I think equipment can work. I like Trip Mine. I like Gravelift. But Energy Drain and Bubble Shield were some of the most annoying things. To me, I don't think there was a lot of skill involved with using them. They're fun, right? It's the equivalent of Armor Lock. Like, Bubble Shield is the equivalent of Armor Lock in Halo Reach. Armor Lock wasn't really a skillful thing. It was, oh god, I'm about to die, Armor Lock. And then you just sit there for a few seconds and you just delay the time it takes you to die. And then if someone's dumb enough, they'll come up and just sit on you, and then you can just pop it and melee them to kill them. Like, but Energy Drain was I get insta-free kill. Was throw Energy Drain, put him one shot, and then just shoot him once and kill him. That was the only one that I think was any real skill. I like Trip Mine. Trip Mines, I think, were a little loud. But you can do some cool stuff with Trip Mines. Like, throw it and then shoot it out of the air as it passes by people was honestly the best way to use it. Gravelift was fun to get to play certain, like, spots on the map. So I like those two. But Bubble Shield was just a get-out-of-jail-free card. It was... like Armor Lock. Oh god, I'm getting shot. Bubble Shield. Okay, what are you gonna do? If you try and come up and melee me, I'm just gonna melee you back, and it's gonna use this weird Bubble Shield to make it so you can't kill me. It was... I don't... Spartan Assault 85% rating on Google. Wow, okay. I guess that makes sense, because I don't expect many people to even try a top-down shooter, and people who don't like them will try and like it. Yeah, exactly. The people who were going to play a top-down shooter probably played Halo and probably liked it. So, and the people who aren't interested aren't going to play it to begin with, so they're not going to rate it. Makes sense. But yeah, I like equipment. Don't like some of these equipment. That's what I could say. Is I don't like Bubble Shield. I don't like Energy Drain. I think they were... oh, not too powerful. Again, Energy Drain was kind of okay. Bubble Shield is a get-out-of-jail-free card. I messed up and overextended Bubble Shield. Okay, sucks for you. Right? Like, I don't... is that any real skill? Did that really take skill? Not in my opinion, but that's my opinion. I can say whatever I want. Facts. You're a lot wrong, Fry Guy. Let's see what other people say. Looks like they are. Infinite, they are back in a different form. Yeah, so apparently there will be equipment in Halo Infinite. I'm excited for. I think the equipment is going to be more like the grapple hook and stuff like... Grapple hook makes every game better. You throw a grapple hook in literally anything, and it makes it automatically better. Some people don't like grapple hooks. I don't even care what you think. They're good. They're good. It's going to be fun. Can you imagine the speedrun strats and the insane plays that are going to be? I could tell you. I bet in studio they've already had some crazy stuff happen with grapple hook that is really fun. Think! You could sled! That's what I'm thinking. All I'm thinking about is, like, having a guy drive a warthog, and then you just attach yourself to the back of the warthog or a banshee or something. You just, you know, get dragged along as it drives away. It'll be so much fun. There's definitely a faction of people who love armor abilities more than deployables. Yeah, I'm kind of that. Is like, I don't really like armor abilities. I don't like equipment. I'm good with them. I'm fine with them. As I said, I like equipment. I like armor abilities. I think some of them need to be gone, but they were just different methods. To me, they were kind of the exact same in a way. So, Halo is a franchise. It's more than one type of game or style of media. Its a richness is widespread in not every aspect, and its offerings are meant to appeal to everyone. Hey, that's what we were talking about. That's what I was just talking about. Yeah, the game's not meant just because they release Spartan Assault or Spartan Ops or they have campaign and Forge and stuff like that. Like, it's not always for you, right? It's the same idea of people are like, I don't like open world games. I don't think I want an open world Halo game. It's like, well, then don't play the open world aspect of the game. It doesn't mean that Halo isn't for you still. Like, there's a lot of people out there who never touch campaign. It doesn't mean that they should get rid of campaign, right? It doesn't apply to those people. The people who don't play campaign aren't going to like campaign because they don't play it. And it's the same idea as like Forge or theater and stuff. Is like everyone wants theater, and by everyone, I mean there's a handful of people who want theater because they want to go back and watch their games. But it's a very small percentage of player that want it. It doesn't mean they shouldn't have theater. I think there is value in having it. Same thing with Forge. I mean, Forge is arguably one of the best showing of value. Is like, there's a very, I think, it's a big community, but compared to the amount of people that play Halo, it's a community. It's a small community inside the wider range of everything that encompasses Halo. Forge creators and stuff are amazing. And they make maps and they make game modes and they make stuff that everyone else uses. And so if Halo didn't have Forge, the game would suffer immensely. But not everyone is actually using Forge. They're using things made from Forge, but they're not using the actual tool themselves. So it doesn't mean they should get rid of it, right? And it's the same idea with Spartan Assault, Halo Wars, all that. You might not like Halo Wars, you might not like Spartan Assault, but there is a section of players that enjoy RTSs, that enjoy top-down shooters, that enjoy the comics and the books, and enjoy all that stuff. It appeals to someone, and that's why they make it, and there is value in that. And I think that is something that people gotta stop thinking so selfishly sometimes, and realize that maybe it wasn't made for them. If you don't like the new Halo games, I understand, and I know it sucks because it takes so long for you to potentially get the Halo game that you want, but it's why I think it's like, if you stop enjoying the franchise, there are other franchises out there that you might enjoy more. Maybe it is time to put Halo away because it's not made for you anymore, which sucks. I'm not saying it's a good feeling. I'm just saying, like, that does suck, and I feel bad, but it's not always made with you in mind. Sorry. So... I mean, it's true, Bash. There's a lot of people who do play campaign at least one time through, but there's a lot. Again, yeah, it's exactly that. They don't need speedrun leaderboards in Halo. How many people actually care about that? There's a section of people that do. Doesn't mean it doesn't add value, right? But yeah, no, I mean, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people that literally only play multiplayer. There's people I know who play Halo who have never played a single campaign. I'm just like, wow, okay. Halo 2's campaign were a downgrade from CE in many ways. Its story dialogue being stellar carried it most of the way. I'm glad H2A exists to save the visuals, but only mods save the gameplay, and even then, can't fix the level design. Wow, that's a take. Graphics were a downgrade from CE? I think, I don't know, me personally, I don't know if I agree with that. I think, again, just during the time, I mean, the 4-year gap between Halo 1 and Halo 2 automatically meant graphics improved, but I could see some of the level design was not great. I mean, who thought it was a good idea to have jackals who could insta kill you? Who thought it was a good idea to start a level with you dead, Gravemind? Who thought it was a good idea to do that? There is definitely, I think, some level design issues with it, but I think Halo 2 has some of the most memorable levels in it at the same time. And there's a lot of similarities to the old game. Like Sacred Icon, the level Sacred Icon is very much like the library of Halo 2. There's options, I guess. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree. I respect that. I don't think I have any problem. If you don't like Halo 2, you don't like Halo 2. I think Halo 2, I mean, I agree with a lot of the parts. It's like, it's the Halo 2 dialogue and the story is champion, right? Like, to me, Halo 2, in my opinion, is the best overall game. But there's certain level design, like I said, I hate the melee system in Halo 2. I hate button combos. I hate a lot of that kind of stuff that's like, man, they really need to fix. Grenades are okay. There's a lot of stuff in Halo 2 that I don't like, but it is all overshadowed by the fact that there's a lot of really good stuff in Halo 2. So, ironically, some of the poor design choices make it so memorable. That's true. That's very true. Dorath, I would use the trip mine on Rat's Nest a ton. Place one on the bend and the outrag and instant double or triple kill. Yeah, Dorath, exactly. It's good. I like equipment. I think some of them, like, I hate Bubble Shield. So, but completely agree. That's actually, this is coming from Nighty. Nighty is a friend of mine. I'm actually surprised he actually says that. But he also comes from a multiplayer perspective, which I think some of Halo 2's multiplayer is, all of Halo CE 2 and 3's multiplayer has some rough edges. That's all I gotta say. So, yeah, I guess we can look back and laugh at it now. CE has aged like bread. It's still as solid. Doesn't bread not age well? I don't... It's still as solid as when it first came out, but pretty much unplayable compared to the... Oh, okay, so no, that's exactly what he's saying. See, it's unplayable compared to the rest of the entries in the series. That's a take. Huh. Okay, so he's saying that it doesn't age well. It saw when it first came out. I mean, I agree. I mean, we're talking a game that's 20 years old now. So it's totally fair that, yeah, compared, if you put Halo CE and Halo 5 side by side, they're pretty different. The biggest thing is a lot of it has to do with the accuracy. I think coming from someone who plays all of the games on a regular basis, I really enjoy Halo CE. I think it plays really well. The movement is garbage. God, I get so pissed with the jumping and just the movement in that game. And the accuracy, the aiming is kind of a pain in the ass too, because you're aiming at a dude with a pistol, but it just doesn't hit because of just how the shooting works. So yes, I mean, there's a lot of rough edges. Lots and lots of rough edges. But I'm mostly coming from a perspective of I'm someone who is quote unquote mastered all the Halo games. So the fact that even someone who plays CE as much as I do, who's pretty good at the movement and the aiming and has figured out the nuances to all that, I still get angry about it. I could see if someone is new coming into it and used to playing modern games and has never played Halo CE, it would really piss them off. So, totally understand that. Do not understand the love and praise for Halo 2 Elites. I agree! Like, cool, Elites. I mean, I don't think they should have playable Elites. I don't mind it. I mean, once again, I think there's a set of people that love Elites, but it's so much smaller than I think people believe it is. It's, once again, it's a loud minority. I don't think that many people really care, right? I think there is a section of people that do, which means there is value to it, right? Like I was talking earlier, but I don't care. Like, I don't care about Elites. I just focus more on doing cool Spartan armor. Get rid of elites. I don't care. That's me personally, though. I understand it, I guess, to an extent. But, again, I'm very much the person that when I'm playing multiplayer, I'm not really caring at who I'm playing against. Like, I'm not paying attention of, like, ooh, look at that cool elite armor. Which is, again, ironically, is ironic because of how much money I spend on microtransactions. But, oh yeah, CE has some bad, it's wonky spawns. God, CE's multiplayer is, I can't do it. I cannot play CE and Halo 2 Classics multiplayer. Cannot do it. It's so frustrating. The accuracy, the aiming, the connection base, the melees, and it feels so bad. I have now just recently been okay with Halo 3, and you still hear me rage about how annoying the fucking hit detection in that game is. I hate all of it. And I think it's just a byproduct of games of that age and how hit detection was working back then. So, I think that's changing. I'm gonna eat some food, sorry. I think it's cool they're adding elite armor to MCC, but as someone who doesn't play elites, I probably won't care. Yeah, I'm the same way. I don't really care. You want elites for Invasion and Machinima. That's a good point. I think it's one of the things that has value is, like, elites have a lot of, like, video content value in it that you could have a lot of fun. It adds another layer of, like, interesting things you could do in-engine, in-game that you can't do without them. So, it's fair enough. Extended lore is mostly bad. I hate this Twitter, by the way. But extended lore is mostly bad and should be left alone. I don't care about John's character in some book. In the games, which accumulate the vast majority of the fan base, Chief is really a non-character, and the story does the talking with supporting characters. Don't agree with that at all. Chief himself is a great character. Well, okay. To be honest, Bungie days, this was true. Which, this person who runs this Twitter account is a hardcore Bungie stan. Like, this person full-on super hates 343. Like, one of the most rage Twitters about Halo on Twitter. So, yeah, this person is very closed off from any kind of discussion about Halo. They're very, very classic Halo person. So, I do agree to that to an extent. I mean, if you actually watch the interviews with Bungie employees, they talk about Master Chief is supposed to be a nobody. He's supposed to be like a robot. He's supposed to be just a random character that doesn't really have any interesting things. But then you go listen to 343, their aspect that is Chief is a human. And he is a human, even though he's been trained and basically brainwashed otherwise. That part of his humanity still should come out, and that's one of the things they wanted to emphasize. It's one of the reasons why I think Halo 343 has done a great job. I will agree that it is straying away from what the original concept of who Master Chief was as a character, but I appreciate that. I actually like that they're trying to give the character more depth than just be a robot. That's not enough for me anymore. If I want to do that, I'll go play Doom. Doom Guy is just that, okay? Like, Doom Guy is a badass, though, but I posted that tweet. You remember Doom 2016 or Doom 2020 or the new Doom Eternal? They're like, hey, by the way, we added grapple hooks and advanced movement and all that stuff. And then people are like, all right, sounds cool. And then Halo people are like, hey, we added sprint to Halo, and everyone's like, ah! It's a good tweet. I have it somewhere. I would pull it up if I had it. But if someone has that tweet, I think I retweeted it. If someone wants to find it and send me the link to it, to my own retweet, then that would be great. Because it is very much that. Is everyone gets so pissed at sprint, but so many games have added advanced movement. Like Doom, which I think Doom Guy and Halo are Master Chief are very similar characters in how they are portrayed at times, and sometimes even the game of how they're set up. And apparently Doom, it's okay to do all that, but not with Halo. So Doom is a pretty different game, though, with how it runs its action. So Halo 4 is fucking good. Agreed! Halo 4 still is the best and it is the most depthful story. You get me talking about this all the time. I don't want to go too much, I don't want to digress too much, but you guys know how I feel about Halo 4. Fucking that story is so goddamn good and underrated, and there is a depth to it. I always tell the story that I was talking to Bonnie Ross about Halo. Like, I went to 343 Studios, ran into Bonnie Ross with, I think it was Late Night. Was it Late Night Gaming? Was it Taras? Who did I run into with? It was one of those people. We ran into Bonnie Ross, and we were just, like, geeking out. We were like, look, we are big fans of Halo 4. And herself, she was like, yeah, we love the Halo 4 story, but we might have gone too deep with some of the story elements of it. And I was like, no! That's what made it so good, is that there are some story, there's some character development, some super depthful mechanics and story elements in there that you really have to dive deep to see. But if you see that, they're so fucking well done. They're so good. Yeah, Halo 4's multiplayer was a thing for sure. But God, it's so good. The story of Halo 4 is so beyond champion. We'll see what people say. Halo Reach, while it's great on its own, was flawed so much that it almost killed the MLG in lore, and considering not retcon, Halo needs spray and clamber at least in campaign. Alright, that's fun. It limits what you can do. I disagree with all that. I think those people are just bad. You ain't lying. Yeah, could not agree more. Spartan Ops was fine. I don't think Spartan Ops was amazing. It was very repetitive. I think the story itself was good. But then they threw it out, so who really cared at that point? They retconned the whole thing. I hate Reach's story. I don't know why people like Reach's story. I mean, it's a story about an unwinnable battle, so there's certain aspects that are good about it, but man, some of the elements is like, ugh. Halo 3 story is just as weak as Halo 5 story, and I'm concerned for Infinite in a number of ways, but I'm not allowed to feel anything besides hype. Hey, I agree Halo 3's is overappreciated a little, but Halo 5 story is awful. Destroys whole characters. Halo 3 just doesn't use them well. Agreed! I think Halo 5 is worse than Halo 3. No, that's a lie. There are aspects that are worse. I think some of the decisions... Halo 5 had an actual story, at least. Halo 3's story is fucking garbage. I fucking hate Halo 3's story. It's such a basic... It is... I think... Alright, you want to hear Joker? You want to hear Joker fucking throw some shade? Here we go. Halo 3's story is such basic-ass... beginner level story writing bullshit that it's the only reason that it appeals to a wide audience, because that wide audience can't fucking actually go past anything that is super base beginner level bullshit. That's my goddamn opinion. Halo 3 has no depth to it. It is the story that it's so goddamn surface level that it's why it appeals to the widest audience. When you do surface level stuff where there's nothing behind the scenes, you just tell the audience exactly what is being told with nothing else underneath it. Everyone can enjoy it because it's easy to understand and they don't even have to try to understand. That is it. They don't have to try to actually enjoy the story. It's just a story that is spoon-fed to you, and that's why people enjoy it. It's a spoon-fed story that's super surface level and is so goddamn boring. And it's the only and the reason, as I said, the reason why it appeals is because a majority, I say, no, that's a lie. A large percentage of people who just don't care that much about actually being told a good story don't care. That's the thing. Is like they just don't care. So to them, a super surface level story sounds great because they don't actually need to think. They don't actually have to use their brain power to do anything. It's basic. It's so goddamn basic. It's a non-existent story. There is literally no story other than Chief has crashed back on Earth and he needs to stop Truth. And they hunt him down run into the Flood. Then there's this whole flopping, oh, we're working with the Flood. We're not working with the Flood. Oh, we're working with the Flood again. Oh, we're not working with the Flood again. And then working with the Covenant. The only good aspect of Halo 3 is the only thing that is at all interesting is the connection between Arbiter and Chief and the relationship that is built there. And even then, it's very little. It's very little of a relationship building. There's no real, like, if you play Halo 3 and actually go watch the story and listen to the story, you go from that, and then you go to the Halo 5 and you watch that, the MCC trailer for Halo 2 Anniversary, right? So you play Halo 3, do that, then watch the trailer where Locke and Arbiter are talking, where he's talking about how the Master Chief was the demon, but he eventually became a brother in arms and eventually became a friend. Doesn't make any goddamn sense. They were not that close by the end of Halo 3. The story that was given in Halo 3, they definitely bonded, but they didn't bond that well, okay? It was a bond out of necessity of survival than it was anything else and having the same goal. So, that's about it. Yeah, I guess RTAs and stuff was pretty good. Like they again, Halo 3 had some aspects that were okay, but the overall story was so goddamn surface level that because it's surface level shit tends to appease the widest amount of audience, but it's also basic as shit. So, and that's why here's the real shade. If you think Halo 3 is actually the best, one of the best stories in the Halo universe, you have no taste. Because it's so goddamn surface level. Which isn't, surface level stories aren't inherently bad. So I will throw that out. Surface level stories aren't inherently bad, but compared to like Halo 2 and Halo 4, man, God, Halo 3 was weak. It was weak. I think there were aspects of Halo 5 that are better than 3. Because at least Halo 5 tried to have some depth to story. There was more than just Cortana's back alive and Chief has gone off to try and find her and Locke is hunting him down. That was the base. The base story of Locke trying to hunt Chief down was as boring as in Halo 4, Master Chief trying to stop the Didact. The base level story of Halo 4 was boring as shit. Surface level bullshit that was boring. It was the really depthful shit what they did with Chief's character and Cortana's character in Halo 4 that was interesting, that they also did in Halo 5 that was actually pretty decent. Again, the direction of Halo 5 was good. The execution was very poor. And that's the thing, is Halo 3's story, I think, it wasn't a bad direction. It was just a boring direction, but it was executed well. I think that's the difference between Halo 3 and Halo 5. Halo 5, good direction, poorly executed. Halo 3, boring direction, well executed. So, all right. Anything that Bungie didn't create is non-canon. That's not an opinion. That's just correct. Well, I just disagree because fuck Bungie. Hey, get off Bungie's dick, okay? They're not that good of a company. They're actually pretty shitty company in a lot of aspects. They have, well, Bungie nowadays is not even old school Bungie, but I love the defense there. I love all the defenses. Like, people are like, I want Bungie back on Halo. No, you don't, because new Bungie is not even old Bungie. Very few people who used to work at Bungie are still working there. They've all moved on to other things. But then that's also the defense of like, oh, Bungie's a bad company. They're like, well, new Bungie, old Bungie was a good company. Totally disagree with you there. There was a lot of stuff. Old Bungie didn't listen to the community at all. I think people forget that everyone's like, I want BR starts. They didn't have BR starts in Halo 3, 2, or, well, 1 for Magnum. Like, they didn't listen to shit. They didn't listen to the fans at all. At least 343 tries. Yeah, they fall short sometimes, but they at least try. So, fuck Bungie. Again, my personal opinion. Just realize that all this is my own opinion. You are all entitled to have your own opinion. Love Spartan Ops and Warzone more than Reach and ODST's Firefight. Gonna miss Warzone Firefight. Warzone Firefight is pretty fun. I will say Warzone Firefight's pretty fun. Spartan Ops, I like this answer because it's so true. Spartan Ops was just campaign firefight was what Spartan Ops was. It really was. Is you just go through each section, killing a bunch of enemies and moving on to the next section, killing more enemies. That was the entirety of it. It's pretty repetitive. That's why I like Spartan Ops was fine. It sucked up a lot of your time, but the story itself was okay until they just retconned the whole thing pretty much. So then it was like, okay, who cares? But I do like it. I do like them better than Reach's. I don't like, there's something about, I've talked about before, there's something about Reach's Firefight I just don't like. Matchmaking maybe is okay, but I think because of all the crazy customization that they started to add to Reach, which I think is good. I think a lot of people like to play all grunt, like Grunt Apocalypse or Rockets or whatever. I think there is something fun about that. And ODST does a little bit of that too, but there's something pure. I think I'm a purist. I'm an ODST purist when it comes to Firefight. There's something so pure about ODST Firefight that I love, that gets me really in the groove, like Gears of War 2 Firefight. My favorite Firefight was probably Gears of War 2 Firefight. No purchasing, no like extra barricades. It was you, some buddies, against waves and waves of enemies. That's it. And that's what ODST is as well. You, some buddies, you get 10 lives. You versus waves and waves of enemies, nothing else. Maybe a weapon respawn here and there, and that's it. Whereas Reach is a lot more customizable, and I think for me it takes some of that. When you can just start customizing your experience so that you can basically tune it so you have the advantage, I think that loses some of its charm for me. So, the iconic moments are less than 343 decade, which let down the hype train. Bungie era had 5 games plus Wars, while 343 first decade 2 games plus Wars 2. Iconic moments are less than 343 decade. I don't know how I feel about that. Sure, I guess. I mean, I feel an iconic moment of Cortana dying is kind of a big deal. I've never cried. I had never cried in a video game until that point, so. But yeah, I mean, they're true. I mean, Bungie did release more games in their time. Not that many more, though. I mean, let's see. They released 5 games, ODST and Reach. Now, again, Reach is kind of a combination of 343 and Bungie, so you can give them both credit for that. So that's Reach, 4, 5, and now Infinite. And then they also did Halo Wars, Fireteam Raven, Spartan Assault, and Spartan Strike. So technically more games, but not the main series games that people are wanting, where Bungie did do Halo 1, 2, 3, Reach, ODST, and Halo Wars, technically speaking. So, I kind of, it's been about the same amount of time, but overall, I think it has taken them a little longer. But, yeah, there's a lot of pretty epic moments in them. So, but I can understand what he's saying. I mean, I think there is, I mean, the whole, who doesn't remember the whole finish the fight scene, and there were some pretty epic moments that they had that I think is true that Halo 4 and 5 didn't necessarily have. I think Cortana dying was, I think, the biggest moment that 343 era has really had. So, Halo BR game could work if done right. I would like to see it. Already has all the lore mechanics. Yep, I agree. I have a whole video on that. You should go check out that video. I have a whole video about Halo and BR and why I think there should be one. And it's not for the reasons you expect. Halo 5 had an enjoyable campaign gameplay-wise at least, on lower difficulties. I agree. Legendary difficulty was actually brutal, which I don't mind being a speedrunner, but yeah, the higher campaign difficulties, man, there was a lot of issues. My biggest thing is the squad system. I think the squad system was garbage. It was something they wanted to try, and I understood it, but it really did not work for Halo. mainly because it relied on your AI. Halo is such a maneuverable game. You know, if Call of Duty had something like that, it wouldn't be as bad, right? Because in Halo, you can jump up and clamber on top of all these crazy little things all around the map. And then you die up there, you'll watch your teammates run around the entire map to try and get to you. And then by the time they get to you, you're already bled out. Like, it doesn't work because the AI is just not smart enough to deal with Halo's higher mobility. And I'm not talking like Halo 5 specifically higher mobility. I mean just Halo overall. The game just has more maneuverability and mobility than a lot of other games like Battlefield, Call of Duty, all those kind. Even like Titanfall, it'd be the equivalent of Titanfall. Imagine if there's a squad system of reviving in Titanfall where you had to rely on AI to do it. If they could just jump straight up a building, that would be fine. But if they had to like run off buildings, they probably wouldn't. They would like jump up buildings and then like it wouldn't work. And I think Halo 5 ran into the same issue. So, but yeah, I think Halo 5, honestly, some parts of it are forgotten. I think I agree with CRISPR here. The Halo 5 campaign, gameplay, and level design are fantastic and underappreciated. I agree. I think Halo 5 had some gorgeous, I mean, the Swords of San Helios level, and some of the levels, Battles of Sanion, they had some gorgeous landscapes. Some really fun levels, some unique designs that Halo really hadn't had before, and they really had some fun areas that were very different from other games and other levels previously through the game. They did a really good job with the level design and stuff. I think it was great, and I think it is an underappreciated part of the game. So, yeah, Halo 3 visuals hold up today. Totally agree. I think now they are starting to look a little outdated, which is crazy to think. Crazy to think, like, if you go to Sierra 117 and you look at that mission and just, like, get dropped into the forest, it still looks better than some games that come out today. Honest to God. So, Halo 3, it was the one thing that I think I will praise Halo 3 forever. It had some of the craziest, the way that they did the graphics, because it wasn't like they were using any other crazy technology that no other game company was. It was just the way that they were designed was so good for longevity. They did such a good job having Halo for later on. What is this? What am I looking? Oh yeah, the Halo 3. The Halo 3, the hood. Yeah, there's that. So, other than that, yeah. Didn't find Halo 5 campaign all that memorable. There were parts of it, yeah, that necessarily weren't all that crazy memorable. The fight with Locke and Chief was not as good as it could be, but it was at least kind of memorable. It could have been a lot different and a lot better, but yeah, it wasn't overall. Yeah, it wasn't all that great. But no, I agree. I think there are aspects, but I think the level design was very well done. We got a lot of this. I'm taking a long time to go through these. But yeah, Halo 3 is great. I actually like Halo 5 more than CE and 4. Fair enough. That's a new one. Yeah, I'm there. Multiplayer was fun. I don't care what anyone says, whether you like how Halo 5 plays or not. There was something about that multiplayer that was really fun. I think I spent more time in Halo 5 multiplayer than I did any other Halo multiplayer, other than maybe Halo Reach. But that was because in Halo Reach I was a 16-year-old boy who was trying to go MLG Pro. So I put a lot of time into Halo Reach. But I really, there was something about Halo 5 I really enjoyed. I don't know what it is, but it had a very addictive multiplayer and it was very fun. So I do like Halo 5's multiplayer better than CE, and I think I like 5's multiplayer better than 4. I think it was an iteration of 4 that was just better. I think it tweaked and changed and fixed a lot of the things that 4 struggled with or didn't do well, and they got rid of the stuff that just didn't work. So, I hate Halo followers videos, man. They're so fucking they're just not funny, and they're terrible, kind of sexist and racist, and man, I have a lot of issues with the Halo follower videos. They're so bad. They're so bad. But that's another argument thing. Strongly dislike the art design in 4. Halo 4. Halo has always been a military-style war game, and sci-fi second. Then in Halo 4, we really saw elements of it in Reach 2. It began to look and feel like those. I can agree to that to an extent. I think I agree. I personally like the direction Halo has gone, but I do understand that if you like the military-style war game of the other ones with the sci-fi second, I totally agree with this. I will say, this is something that they are doing for Infinite. I know I've talked to people at 343, and it is one of the pillars that they've made sure that Halo Infinite in particularly, it gets... There are pillars that they use that determine the game's overall direction, and that whenever they make a new thing, they want to make sure that it fits the pillars. Whatever they make, they're like, does this make sense to the pillars that we've created? And they are the thing that the franchise is built on, and one of the things is military. So I will tell you, one of the pillars for Halo Infinite is building that military aspect of Halo. That it is a big part of it. So hopefully it is a very important part of it. So Halo followers sexist racist? No, I'm just saying the videos he made, these like 3D animation videos that he's done, he's using some cool tech for it. That's cool, but they're very not funny, and some of it is very like it's playing up some very stereotypical racist and sexist things in it. Take Palmer, the Palmer video. It was, yeah. I have issues with him. Maybe you don't, but God, they're really not funny either. That's my biggest thing. Is like some people are like, they're funny. They're not funny. They're stupid humor that plays to 12-year-old audiences, like getting kicked in the balls and stuff. And it's just like every one of his videos, someone gets kicked in the balls, and it's just not funny. If you did it once, okay, I got a little giggle, but it's a terrible little reoccurring joke. It's not funny in any way. So, and it doesn't even make sense. But anyways, we'll leave Halo Follower out of this for now. I really hate all the missions that involve the activation index. They are very repetitive, and the level design is very lazy. Oh, I mean, I agree. Sacred Icon. I said this. Sacred Icon is library. I don't know if people realize, but library is very much you go back and forth. You ride an elevator up to the second floor, and you just do the exact same loop over and over again. Sacred Icon was that. You drop down this like pillar hole thing. You go through this. It's library, but it's horizontal. The movement is horizontal rather than vertical, and there is a lot of vertical to it too. You keep dropping down these holes. It's backwards library, I guess. But yeah, you literally hop on an elevator that takes you to the next section, another building, and then you do the loop again in a way. And they change it a little bit so it doesn't all look the same, but it's all similar. I can feel that, but I actually respect that. I can understand this. It does feel very, when you see that kind of thing, you feel it's very lazy and repetitive. And I think some of it is. I mean, back in Halo 1 days, absolutely. But that was how games were designed back then. I mean, if we're talking about lazy level design, let's talk about how Halo 1 used the same 4 missions twice. 343 Guilty Spark is the only individual unique mission in that. Every mission is used multiple times. Library is used within itself multiple times. Pillar of Autumn is redone on the Maw. Same thing with Two Betrayals and AOTCR. Silent Cartographer, you go around that island multiple times. Like, and then you go back up, and you go down and then up, and you basically revisit the exact same areas of the level over and over again. Like, it's very much all that. And to, I think, some people, it seems very lazy. I actually think it's very smart level design. Personally, I think it was a very good use of the resources they had at the time. They did not have the technology to be constantly making new stuff all the time. And I think the way that they did it, where they changed certain aspects and looks of it, like Keys, where they added all the flood spores and everything now, they did a great job. I think it was, some people might say it's lazy. I think it was incredibly smart of how they did it. So, but I understand that. I get it. I enjoy it, but I respect it. I like Halo 5 the most, and I think it's the best one based on the tastes and preferences. Agreed. I think there is a lot of people out there that like Halo 5. I think there's a subsection of audience, and that's why I think there's the purest OG Halo players that maybe don't like Halo 5, and maybe Halo's not for you. Move on to a different franchise. That's all I have to say. I know it sucks. I know it's like I can't just move on. I've played Halo all my life. Yeah, sure, but you've also done a lot of things in your lifetime that you've moved on for. Why is Halo not one of them? I guarantee you there were things you did 10 years ago that you do not do anymore. I'm sure I think one of the best is language. I'm sure there is certain language that you refused to use when you were younger that you have no problem using now, and vice versa. I bet there was a lot of words and things that you were probably more open to using back then, and now it's not so socially acceptable, and you don't use them anymore. So I'm sure there's a lot of things that you used to do for a long time that you no longer do. Maybe Halo is one of those things. Because I think Infinite is. I think if you're a super hardcore purist, Halo Infinite is not going to give you what you need. And I think even if you're a Halo 5 purist, let's say, I think Halo Infinite is still not going to give you exactly what you want. It's not going to be Halo 5. It's not going to be Halo 1. It's going to be a mixture of the two. And I think it's going to appease to a lot of people, hopefully, but it's not going to be for everyone. So it's up to your preferences. So Halo Reach did have a good art style, I will say. So the scale of Reach feels small and doesn't make me feel like the entire planet is under attack by a massive Covenant fleet. I think that if you're just playing the missions, sure, but I think if you watch the videos, I mean, just some of the videos No, I totally agree. You know what? I actually totally agree on that. I actually feel like the Covenant are invading, like, a continent on Reach. Like, when they glass the planet, they're really just glassing this one area, but in reality, they're glassing the entire planet. But I actually understand that. You're only in one section of the world, which is accurate, so I totally understand that. But it's the same idea with the Halo Ring. When you go through the Halo Ring, I don't feel like I'm exploring the entire... Well, that's a lie, actually. I do think... I don't think you're going through the entirety of the Halo Ring, but you are visiting quite a few chunks of it. Whereas in Reach, it feels like you're kind of in, like, a section of the planet. So, I like what 343 has done with Halo. Me too. So does Sacred Icon. I enjoy it. I think they're a great company. I think they have people who are passionate, who know what they're doing, who are not only sometimes some of them younger, some of them older, who what it comes down to, they are some of the most passionate people about Halo that we've ever had work on Halo, right? The people who were at Bungie, they were making this game and they loved it, but half of them didn't even know what they were making, and then half of them left because they were done making the franchise to go work on Destiny and other things. So the people who were remaining and the people at 343 were people who either grew up on Halo or are so passionate about it that Halo is what they've wanted to work on all their lives, and they still want to work on it. And I think it's why I have so much respect for them. And I'm in a fortunate position that I've gotten to see that. I get to know, I've met a lot of the 343ers, and you just get to hear that passion and the love, and the fact that they actually play the game that they do, and they listen to the community, and they know what they're doing. But I am definitely in a ballpark where I have the opportunity to go see that. Not everyone sees that side of them. So I think a lot of people feel like they're neglected at times when it's not true, but it's hard to tell them unless they see it themselves. So they understand, they hear the feedback. It's not always what they listen to, but they do hear it, and they do try and adjust accordingly. They really do try and listen to community feedback. So I love what 343 is doing simply because I think they are more involved with Halo than a lot of companies are with the games they work on. I think there are a lot of game companies out there that release a game, and they work on it a little bit, but they don't really care about what the community thinks sometimes. So Halo Infinite's reveal looked completely fine. All right, here's Joker on another tangent. I know we've been talking about this already for too long, and I'm pretty sure we have a lot to go through. We have a lot of messages to go through because I've been getting distracted. But I just need to throw this out there. I've seen stats. I've seen research. More people liked the look of the Infinite reveal trailer than you think they did. You are used to being on Twitter, being on the internet, where all you hear are the people complaining. You always hear the loud minority. And sometimes it's the loud majority, but the people who are fine or enjoyed it aren't the ones blowing up about it. If they were like, yeah, it looks good, you're not going to hear that on Twitter. You're only going to hear about the people who are hardcore, super angry, right? But I've seen research stats. I've seen it. Don't tell anyone I'm telling you this, but I've seen research stats. If you want to know, I've seen the research stats of they took polls from a big section of a big what's the word? Control size of people. I don't know what it was. I'm trying to think of the scientific term, but they've taken a big sampling size of people of 3 different groups: people who are Xbox fans, people who are Halo fans, and people who are PlayStation fans. 80%, 83 or something. It was like 80 to 85% of people who were Xbox fans actually liked how Infinite looked. 85% who are Xbox fans. People who are... Sorry, no, that's people who were Halo fans. People who were Xbox fans was lower. It was like 72%. It was like 70 to 74% was just Xbox fans in general. So not hardcore Halo people, right? That was the 2 sections. It was hardcore Halo people who consider themselves mainly Halo players, and then just Xbox people. So Xbox people or Halo people thought was like 80% of them actually liked Infinites. Now, it's a smaller section. Again, when I say liked, I mean above average. So on a scale of 1 to 5, they rated it 4 or higher, right? Or at 3 or higher, I think is what it's determined. Yeah, 3 or higher was 80%. So average, like Halo 3 is like, or 3 is average. It was like, oh, it looks fine. Like no complaints. Looks good. I don't think it looks incredible, but the actual largest section was that 4, where they're like, it looks good. Xbox fans was 72%. Sony fans like 54%. But you'll notice that in general when people on Xbox do research stats on people who when they look at PlayStation games, they automatically rate it lower. That just tends to be the trends that, they're hardcore console fanboys. They want to support the platform and they want to automatically knock anything that the other people work on. That banana command is so goddamn good, Mask. I love that banana. That's my favorite command. Banana. That's my favorite command now. So, Linkum, I'm not allowed to do that. I'm not even allowed to be telling you this. Hopefully I don't get in trouble for it. But yeah, there is Xbox research that exists out there, which they do this for all games. It's not just Halo. They do this. I guarantee you, like Horizon. When they released that Horizon trailer, I bet there's research things going on right now to determine whether people liked the graphics of it and whatnot. So, but yeah, you can believe me. You don't have to believe me. It's up to you. Whatever you want to take. But yeah, more people liked the look of Infinite than people give it credit for. Because again, you're on the internet. All you hear is the angry young boys who are mad about their game not looking exactly how they wanted it to. So, but just be aware of that. It's something that I want you to remember, that the internet is a very small section of hardcore people who are very, 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 very passionate about what they're into, which is a thing. Is just remember that. That's all that was my point in sharing that information. Is like, you'd be surprised. There was a lot more people. I mean, obviously they want more, but 80% is a pretty good capture rate of people who enjoyed it. So, but as I said, I can't show you my source, but if you don't want to believe me, that's okay. You don't have to. Fact is, I know the truth. So, Halo 4 had the weakest story of all Halos. Garbage! Wrong, Static! This is a surface level person. I bet. What does it say? Halo H4's multiplayer wasn't bad. Okay, interesting. Spartan Ops was amazing. Okay, H5 campaign wasn't that bad. Halo 5 doesn't look very great in motion. Okay, fair enough. I kind of agree. Halo 2 is the best multiplayer. Halo C is the most competitive multiplayer. They the main ones. Halo 5's campaign is in story, by the way. Okay, not the gameplay. Interesting. I agree with that one. I've talked about it. The direction was good. Execution was poor. Halo 5 doesn't look great in motion. I think there is a lot of effects that can definitely feel a little weird. Halo 2 had the best multiplayer. Not Halo 2 Classic, I'll tell you that much. I can't get over button combos and all that garbage. But there's some aspects of Halo 2 that had really good multiplayer. So, Halo C is the most competitive multiplayer. I don't. It's competitive because it's garbage. The movement and stuff is hard. So I don't know if I agree with. Sorry, Static, man. I know I like Static, but sorry, buddy. He used to follow me. Apparently he don't like me no more. Probably because he hates my opinions, but disagree. Pseudo disagree. Like, it was fine. I don't think it was amazing. Halo 4 multiplayer wasn't that bad. I kind of agree. It wasn't horrible. There's actually some good aspects of it, but Halo 5 campaign wasn't that bad. I said, I agree with this one. Halo 2 best multiplayer? Don't really agree with that one. CE was the most competitive multiplayer. Don't agree with that one. I think there's a mistake here that he's messing up competitive with hard. Just because it's a hard multiplayer to get used to and the skill curve is high doesn't make it the most competitive. Just because, like, knowing weapon spawns and launching and knowing how to aim and actually move your character in that game at its base is just hard to do. Because it's just difficult. Like, the game is designed in a difficult way. Not purposely, just that's a byproduct of being a 20-year-old game. So I think that it's a hard multiplayer to play. I don't think it's the most competitive. I think that's a missay or whatever how you say it. Yeah, I think that's misspoke. I'm guessing if he hates Halo, I bet Halo 3. He doesn't say, but I bet Halo 3 was his favorite campaign. I would put money on that. That or Halo 2, because Halo 2 is the base one that everyone goes to because they don't want to go against the grain. So everyone's like, Halo 2 is the best. I don't know if I don't even remember the Halo 2 story, but I think it's the best because everyone else thinks it is, and I don't want to disagree people. So, but I bet he's surface level. I bet he's a surface level boy. Because I agree, Halo 4's story was pretty weak surface level, but man, if you really dig deep, fuck man, it's good. Love all the Halo games for what they are and learn to adapt to new features implemented. I actually enjoyed them all. This is exactly me. I don't have a favorite, but overall Halo in its entirety. I mean, I do have a favorite, but I have multiple favorites for things, but I agree. I enjoyed all of the Halos. I think they brought different things to the table, and I enjoy each of them for different reasons. So Halo 4's story is easier to understand than Halo 2 and 3's story. Well, Halo 3 doesn't have a story. Halo 2 is actually kind of complicated. It is a weirdly very political game. It is a very socio-political game. So yeah, I agree on that. I think Halo 4 story is easier to understand in some aspects. I think there's some really deep things that even go deeper than Halo 2, but getting even that second level of understanding for Halo 4 story is easier than Halo 2's. So I find Halo 3's campaign is the weakest in the series. Bam! Halo 4 is actually a super solid game with brilliant moments. Excluding the finale. What? The finale was brilliant! It was so good. Halo doesn't need sprint. I agree. I don't think it needs sprint. I do like sprint. I'm a sprinter. I'm a sprint boy. Because to me, again, it just doesn't make any sense. And I hate the argument, well, Master Chief was always sprinting in Halo. There was no sprint in Halo CE because he was always sprinting. And I'm like, okay, I understand what you're going for, but that's also super fucking stupid. Are you telling me that, like, whenever Master Chief was standing still, he would be like... So you're telling me that, when in Halo, Halo 4 he runs, but, in Halo CE where it looks like you're just standing there... In reality, if he goes from standing still to walking, he just goes everywhere he goes. Just like at full sprint, you go from completely standing still to full sprint, and then standing still again to full sprint. Fuck that, man. That's fucking bullshit. That's dumb. That's a dumbass fucking excuse to try and defend your game from not making canonical sense and realistic sense, okay? I understand that idea. That's like, oh, Master Chief's always sprinting, but let's be honest, that makes no goddamn sense, and that's for me. Sprint is more of a realism, canonical story lore thing than it is anything else. I don't really care how it affects the movement, the multiplayer, things like that. It's just, he is a fucking trained from a child, military, 500-pound suit-wearing super soldier. You're telling me he can't move his feet a little faster? That's fucking dumb as shit. And sorry, but I do agree. I don't think Halo needs sprint from a game mechanic perspective, but trying to explain of like, oh, he's always sprinting when your walk speed in Halo C is actually Master Chief sprinting. So he's sprinting while he's running his gun. It makes no sense. All right? Cuz again, you're telling me he goes from 0 miles an hour to like 12 miles an hour in the course of half a millisecond. Okay, sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Banshee tricks are incredibly annoying, makes trying to kill them with anything that isn't a sprite laser seem worthless. Disagree. I think you could definitely, if you get everyone shooting at Banshee, easy kill. Banshee tricks, agree. Banshees in general, really overpowered in multiplayer. Master Chief, Bungie era is one of the, if not the worst characters I've ever seen. Halo 4 novels is the only good Chief. I respect that. I understand what he's going for. Again, Master Chief, I talked about it earlier. Bungie had a different aspect of who Master Chief. He was supposed to be a faceless robot with no personality. That was Bungie's outlook on Master Chief. That is what they were trying to do with his character, which they did. So that understands why he's one of the worst. He's one of the most boring characters. It's because it's nothing. So, okay. Halo 3's multiplayer is boring. I used to agree with this. I hated Halo 3's multiplayer. You guys know I hate the hit detection. I think it's garbage, and I hate fuck your bullshit excuse of, oh, you need to know where people are going. That's dumb. That's dumb. It's a dumb excuse to try and, once again, defend a game for having to be poorly coded. That is what it comes down to. I think it's poor coding, and the hit detection system is bad. And you being like, oh, it's more skill, but you have to... That's dumb. Guess what? Aiming at a person and aiming in front of them is the exact same thing. Except one makes more sense than the other. That's the only difference. If you're aiming at someone and then they do a strafe left and right, guess what? You still have to try and predict where they're going by aiming at where they're going to go so that you can follow them with your aim. It's the same thing that if you aim in front of them, it's the exact same thing. It's dumb. I hate that excuse. It's another bullshit excuse to try and defend a game for having poor coding or be poorly designed. I don't think it's not bad coding. I will say it's not poor coding. They actually do some really smart things with it, but they came out with that video explaining the hit detection, and that alone explained to me why, like, MCC, the higher frame rate, made Halo 3's aiming a lot harder because of how the tick rate is. And again, the way they did it is actually very smart, but that alone makes me hate the hit detection. It makes no sense. I think if they could have changed some things for it to be a little bit more acceptable for me, but I really do. I really hate aiming, like actually having my gun trained on somebody in Halo 3 and it just not hit them. It makes no sense and it frustrates me beyond any measure. Because again, I like bullet. I've talked about it. I'll talk about this all day. I like bullet drop. I like bullet time. I like where you shoot a gun and you actually get to see the bullet travel and hit the person, or you see it miss. Halo does not do that. It does a combination of hit scan and trajectory and projectile aiming, which means you shoot, your bullet looks like it goes across everywhere, but you can't really tell where it shot. So when you aim at someone and you shoot them, you don't really, it's hard. It's hard to actually see where the bullet hit. So you're like, well, I don't know if the bullet went past him or not past him because it's not bright enough. You can't see it. I think I would actually enjoy Halo's hit detection more if I could actually see where the bullets were going. But you can't tell half the time. You just aim at a guy and you're shooting him and you're like, it's not hitting his shields. I don't know if I need to aim farther in front of him or behind him. I don't know which, like, that's my thing, is like whenever I shoot at someone who's walking a direction, I can't tell if I need to actually lead the shot more or lead the shot less. And that's what frustrates me. Because I start being like, okay, I'm just going to like move my aim. Because it's also dependent on your connection. It depends on your connection, depends on the host, depends on the, like, there's so much dependent that, like, every time you do it, you have to change how it actually shoots. And it's really fucking annoying. I think if you could actually see where your bullets were hitting relative to the Spartan, I would be okay with it. But you can't. You can't actually tell whether you need to lead your shot more or less depending on where the last shot was. It's what I love. I love Battlefield. Battlefield is one of my favorite projectile systems. Escape from Tarkov has a great system too. But I love literally sniping from across the map and you just see that bullet. You get to literally watch the bullet fly across the map and hit in the dirt in front of someone who's running away. And then you're like, okay, now I know I need to aim up more, to the left a little more. As long as the guy keeps running in a straight line, you can then adjust your aim to factor in the difference there. You can't do that in Halo because you can't actually see where your bullets are hitting. You see the bullet trail, but that's not really a good indication of whether it's in front or behind him. You can't tell. It's got the tracer thing, but I can't tell. I can't read that. So, yeah, Apex is good. Kraber has it too, right? Yeah, you can adjust accordingly. You can't do that in 3, and it's so goddamn frustrating. So, but that being said, I digressed. I like the Halo 3's multiplayer. I am having more fun in Halo 3's multiplayer than I have ever. And I think it's because I don't take it seriously. I get to just mess around and enjoy it. I don't care. I run into some people who have not stopped playing Halo 3 since it came out 10 years ago, who need to go outside and get a life. But I don't care at this point. I'm like, look, okay, I get it. We get it. You're good at the video game. Congratulations. I'll just gonna sit this game out, and then the next one maybe I'll have a little fun because I can just mess around. I'll run around doing random shit in it, right? So, not a fan of Reach, not the art style, weirdly desaturated palette, not the multiplayer, not the campaign, just boring, and it had good infection and firefight. That's about it. It did have great infection. I think Halo Reach had the best SWAT, the best snipers, and the best infection. I think that was, for me personally, what Reach had the best. And I personally think Reach was one of my favorite games in a competitive setting when you play Zero Bloom. When you played No Bloom, Halo Reach felt really good. I didn't mind the armor abilities. I kind of agree. I think the campaign is actually it's not boring. I just don't think to me personally, it's that crazy of an interesting story. It's once again, it's a relatively surface level, but it was a well executed surface level story again, where it's a story about an unwinnable fight, right? That's what it was from beginning to end, and there's not too much depth beyond that. So, there's some interesting stuff with how the characters on that team interact with each other, though. So, art style is weirdly desaturated. I do agree. I think some of it does look a little desaturated. I think we're used to Halo 3. If you go back to the old Halo games, there was a lot of pretty vibrant colors that the newer games don't do as much. So, there's a lot more glare in the newer games, whereas the older games were a lot more just vibrance. So, Reach and ODST are my favorite. Sweet, I agree. Sure. Halo 4 and are unabashed heresy and not true Halo games. Assassinations are salt on BS. 343's Warthog looks awful, to name a few things. I love the look of the Warthog. I'm just saying, I love all the extra fuel tanks and everything. And the things that like fall off the Warthog. I think they do a great job. I love the like partly destructible looking vehicles. It's great. But hey, man, Halo purist, whatever. You be you. Assassinations. I've never understood this argument. You can turn off assassinations, so I guess you can't turn off assassinations on you, but whatever. I don't know. That's just a random feature in the game that I think is kind of fun, and they can do fun things with. So, 343 Air Elites don't even look that bad. I could agree to an extent. I think there were some things that were toned down on the 343 Elites. So, Hunt the Truth is good. I agree. I think it set people up for some expectations, though. Cortana was never intended to stay dead. She always was intended to become a villain. Threads in the Contact Harvest Legends introduced. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I agree. I think they knew that killing Cortana. I don't think for a second I ever believed that they were killing Cortana and she wasn't going to make an appearance in Halo 5. So I agree to that, but I also don't think I ever expected her to I don't think they ever expected to kill Cortana off fully. I thought we were going to see something in Halo Infinite where Chief was going to get her back. I talked about it. I thought Halo 5 was going to be a story about Chief once things came out. I thought it was going to later, and I was actually I was correct to an extent. I didn't see the twist of making Cortana a villain. I think that was always the idea, but it was not what I expected. I thought it was going to be that like a message is giving to Chief that there is a way to bring Cortana back. And in doing so, he was going to stop at nothing to do so, thereby making him commit treason and abandon his post, and that's when Locke was going to have to hunt him down. But we weren't going to see Cortana return until Halo Infinite or Halo 6. That was actually my prediction, which I guess part of it was actually kind of correct. He found out that Cortana is still alive, and there might be a way to bring her back. So, but yeah, there's a lot of lore and stuff. But yeah, I don't think for a second I thought they were going to fully kill her off. So, Halo 5 was great fun to play, especially Warzone. Warzone was a great mode. I had a lot of fun. Again, I played Warzone more than anything else in Halo 5, so I agree. Warzone was a good evolution of, I think, Invasion. So, one thing I hate about Halo, even though, is that we basically never see John's team and his friends. Seeing them most in their interactions would have been cool. We saw them in Halo 5, but barely, as we barely even saw Chief. I agree. I think I mean, that's some extended lore stuff, but I think they could do some fun blue team stuff. So, I feel like Combat Evolved hasn't aged as gracefully as most of the community thinks it did. I enjoy every other game of the franchise more than I enjoy it. Halo C is not aged well, it's aged better. I think there's a lot of that I agree with. I think Halo C is pretty outdated. I mean, you go back and play the story and you're like, wow, this was, once again, it's a pretty base level, surface level story. There's a lot of interesting things, but really a lot of it that puts it forward is that nostalgia of like, oh, I don't even know what the Halo rings are. Remembering that you know nothing about this universe, having that in your mind, you're like, wow, this is pretty good. Whereas Halo 3 suffers from, you already know a lot, and it's just a boring-ass story. Halo CE, yeah, it's not, there's some fun stuff, but yeah, you know, I mean, if you go into Halo CE thinking that you've forgotten everything else in the Halo universe, and then you play Halo CE of like, oh shit, the Halo rings destroy the universe? Oh, okay. Like, there's some interesting big moment things, you know, 100 million degrees jokes and stuff that are in there. But yeah, overall, if you go back and play Halo CE, I think you'll be like, wow, this was not as crazy of and interesting as a story if I remember. And that's okay, because it was the first one in the series. They were setting themselves up to do more. That's how it's going to be when you do the first ones in series. So, every single Halo game has been amazing, even the new ones. Agreed! Halo ODST is the best soundtrack. Kind of agree on that. I think I talked about when I did my... Oh, I gotta cut that. I gotta actually post that. My full series playthrough that my speed runs. I think I decide Halo 2, right? Halo 2 was the best soundtrack. So, but I think ODST is my follow-up. So, design peaked at Halo 4. I also found it to be the best. I loved Halo Master Chief's armor in Halo 4. I'll agree. I think I honestly love it. I love the new look of Master Chief, though. I think they have done some of the craziest stuff. That the design team has done some psychological stuff with the Infinite armor that is beyond anything we've seen. So I think the new Master Chief might be my new favorite looking armor. Advanced movement doesn't kill the game. Players just don't like that all that crouch jumping training is gone now. Ha! Got him. Agreed to an extent. I don't think advanced movement is hurting it that much. And again, because I don't even call it Halo advanced movement. There's no wall running or anything crazy. Some stuff, but whatever. I barely slide. I don't ever slide in Halo 5. So, whatever. Oh, that's a lie. I guess I slide in movement, but I never slide into fights. But dual wielding is just a gimmick that hurts gameplay. I agree with this one. Dual wielding is a gimmick, and I think it balances weapons poorly, because you create a bigger divide. When you are dual wielding SMGs versus holding one SMG, that one SMG is automatically going to be useless, and it is only useful with two SMGs, but you want to make it useful enough that it's better than other things, so you actually do it. Because you have to go through the effort of finding one and finding a second one. And it's so much more work that you automatically make it better. So you automatically make certain dual wielding stronger than other weapons, just to give it a reason to actually be... Because if dual wield SMGs was just as good as a BR, no one's going to fucking go for dual wield SMGs. They're only going to use the BR. So you automatically have to make it better in some regards. But then single SMG is now garbage compared, because it's completely useless because you have to do dual wielding. I think dual wielding fucks up the sandbox. I think it's totally bad, so... personally have with Halo 5 concept was making Cortana's betrayal more upfront. I think it should have been a little more unknown. I think I agree with you, Mass. As I said, I like the direction of making Cortana evil, but it should have been a little bit more. It should have worked up to the point where you're like, oh shit, is Cortana evil? Oh god, you know? Sprint was long overdue and belongs in Halo. Agreed. I talked about that earlier. Halo 2 is the weakest campaign of all the Bungie games. Okay, I mean, it's just wrong, but okay. Once again, surface level maybe, but Halo 2 is really about the Arbiter story, not about Chief. And I think it's great. So, the deployable healing from Halo 3, oh yeah, is more annoying than Armor Lock. I agree. Another thing that I thought was overpowered, regen. I thought bubble shields was stupid. Regen at least is a little more fair because you can actually set things up, and if you grenade melee, you can do it, and you can work things. But yeah, it's once again, it's another get out of jail free card. I hate get out of jail free cards in these things, so it's why Armor Lock wasn't all that annoying, because it's not a get out of jail free card. It's a I'm just gonna delay. It's more of an annoyance because it's a delay my life, because you can't regen shields when you're in Armor Lock. So as soon as you pop out, you kill the guy anyway. So it just delays it, and you're like, well, now I just gotta sit here. So while I think that Infinite will be a fantastic game, people expecting it to be a classic Halo will be disappointed. Agreed. It's gonna be a mixture of both. People need to keep an open mind about it. So Reach is not only a great Halo game, I feel like the current hype positive towards the game is because Reach is not really a great Halo game. Is because most of the fans online are pretty young, and for many, Reach was the introduction to the Halo universe. I can agree to this to an extent. I think Reach, again, I love every Halo game, but yeah, I think Reach was fine. I think the multiplayer, I think it was just a solid Halo game. I think that's what it is. I don't think it stands out as like one of the best things in anything. Again, Reach I think was my favorite multiplayer. And it's just because of the time I put in. But overall, I think the game it's a good Halo. It's a good, solid entry into the franchise. I don't think it's like it did anything the best. Every game is a masterpiece, even 4 and 5. Agreed. This series needs to evolve and stay relevant to attract new players. Features like aim down are expected features in modern games. I agree to this. I think games should evolve. I don't think they need to necessarily stay relevant to what other games are doing. I think that's just copying, and I don't think you need to copy to stay relevant. I think it does need to new features and stuff to evolve. I don't think Halo can get away with doing the exact same game over and over and over again for decades. I don't think it would work. And I think it does need to attract new players. I think it's why they should add a Battle Royale mode. I think they should. I think it would be a good add to the game that would bring in a lot of new players to the franchise that maybe have never even played Halo before. I think PC, that's a way you can evolve. Again, it doesn't have to have the same mechanics as other games like ADS and Sprint. Just going to PC is a new feature, and it's something that will bring new players in. Having a Battle Royale, there are other ways to do it than being like, oh, it needs ADS and Sprint. I personally like Sprint. Once again, it's also irrelevant. If Infinite ended up not having Sprint, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. If it has Sprint, I'd be like, oh, okay, cool. Aim down sights, kind of the same thing. There was plenty of aim down sights. Also, I think the aim down sights thing is blown out of water. I think the smart scoping, what we get in Halo 5, where you aim down sights, where you actually see to me, they're the exact same thing. I don't understand the complaints with it of like when you scope in with a BR in Halo 2, you get just the scope. But in Halo 2, you actually kind of you get to see over they're the exact same fucking thing to me. I don't personally see any difference between aim down sights in Halo 5 and what Halo 3 scope is. There's an animation to it, so maybe it takes a few fractions of a second longer. But to me personally, again, this is personal, I think aim down sights, Halo 5, actually seeing the gun and aiming over the gun sights, and Halo 3 just getting the scope are the exact same fucking things, and there's zero difference between the two. So, okay, aim down sights with sword and hammer, I fucking hate. Same with the shotgun. Again, it's a logical sense thing. How does aiming down sights with your shotgun make the shotgun more accurate in long range? Dumbest shit I've ever heard in my life. Same thing with the sword and hammer. Aiming with the sword allows you to lunge farther. Makes no sense, and it's really goddamn annoying. So I will agree on those aspects. But really, I've never enjoyed Halo 4 and refused to play Halo 5. MCC on PC is amazing. And even if it's not the same as the original, it allows me to bring new people in Halo. Agreed. Sure. I mean, if you didn't enjoy Halo 4 and refuse to play 5, okay, fair enough. You do you. Some of my friends do not like what that I'm fond of the armor design 4 and 5, that they think Halo 3 is the best character design. For instance, the elites look hunchback. make them look like high-tech grandpas, lol. I can agree. I love the armor design of Chief in 4.5. I think it looks better than 3. So, but I also understand the Halo purist perspective as well. I never really looked down on, I was never really down with the look of Halo Reach, don't get me wrong. Fair enough. Finding myself getting slightly bothered by the look of the elites and the look of the certain weapons. I don't know, I thought the elites and stuff, I thought actually Halo Reach looked pretty similar to the other one, so. The fact that dual wielding was removed and it was a poor decision. Incorrect! I think dual wielding is a fucking garbage for the sandbox, so. Halo, I like 4 story and Halo 5 story. I don't pretend they're perfect, but instead of focusing on negative aspects, I like to see the good aspects. Yeah, I think it's good. It's the art style and gameplay that shit. No, I disagree there. The gunplay in 5 was the best of the series has ever been since tackle, plus the tackle and ground pound. It felt good to be a Spartan. No, fuck that. Fuck tackle, fuck ground pound. Please get rid of those. Once again, get out of jail free cards. I'm shooting at a dude constantly. He just runs up, sprints into me, and then melees me, and I die. And it's like, what the fuck? Bullshit. Ground pound is funny. I'm a little bit more accepting of ground pound because I think it was funny. It was pretty easy to counter, but also it's pretty overpowered as well. So please get rid of him. But, to each their own. Reach is a solid game that takes the blow of being the downfall of Halo, and its strengths are commonly overlooked. Yeah, I think Reach got a lot of flack when it first came out. I think people have a pretty good outlook on Halo Reach nowadays. Nothing redeemable about Halo 5, even when people praise the gameplay, I don't see it. Doesn't feel good. Okay, fair enough. Don't like it. Disagree. I don't think any game has not a single thing that's not redeemable about it, but Halo Wars 2 is a mediocre RTS, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Fair enough. I don't know if that's a uncommon thing. I think it's pretty common that Halo Wars in general is a mediocre RTS. I think there are better RTSs out there. Halo 2's campaign is the weakest of the original trilogy by a lot. Catch a lot of flack for it. Okay, fair enough. Disagreeing. It's okay to be wrong, but great game and one of the best Halos. Agreed. Just don't like sprint in most Halo games. Okay, to each their own, but still. 343 stubbornly kept sprint in Halo as a base ability for the past decade, despite massive backlash and able to attract. Again, I love the phrase massive backlash. Massive backlash from him and their buddies, you know? Like, once again, like I mentioned earlier, I think there's a lot more people that like sprint than are given credit to, or don't care. I think the amount of people who just don't give a shit is a lot more than the people who hate sprint. I think that's the difference. Is like they get massive backlash, but massive to them is the internet complaining about it, which the internet a lot of times is the vocal minority, as always. So, albeit smaller fan base around the new style Halo gameplay. Once again, just incorrect. I mean, again, if you look at statistics, Halo has a bigger fan base than it's ever had. So that's just wrong. But it's just one of these people are just so stuck in the ways that they don't understand. They have to physically see the data. They have to physically see the data and numbers, and I wish they would. I wish they would actually release like the like research data of like, here's how many people actually like sprint and or don't give a shit. Cause I guarantee you 80% of that, like 70 to 80% of people just don't care. I bet in reality, a majority of people just don't care if Halo has sprint or not. And that is going to be the majority of players. I think there's a lot of people who do care about it, and there's a lot of people who don't care for it. But I think a majority of players honestly could give less of a shit. So, best multiplayer. Halo, the 2 weapon limit and regenerating shield influence an entire generation of shooters in the worst way possible. Wow. Okay. Huh. That's one I haven't heard before. I haven't heard that before. 2 weapon limit and regenerating shield. I mean, if you're looking at Quake and stuff like that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, he's not wrong. I think it did influence an entire generation of shooters. There's a lot of most shooters do the 2 weapon, and then maybe you get like a special, like Destiny is basically a 2 weapon, but you do get 3. Apex 2-weapon. Um, yeah, I mean the 2-weapon thing has been forever. Titanfall is 2-weapon. I mean Gears of War. Gears of War is like 3-weapon, I guess. So but there's a lot. Battlefield, Call of Duty, all those games is basically 2-weapon, and sometimes you get like an extra rocket launcher or something sometimes, or something along those lines. So, totally understand that, but I don't. I never really thought about it. I never really thought that if Halo was one of the big determining factors of that. Regenerating shield, I think that was going to happen regardless. I think being able to heal over time was a thing, but who knows? Maybe Halo was something that really influenced that. That if you were, because there are games that when you take damage, that's it. Like, you stay at that health until you die, or you find a health pack or something, Quake and Doom come to mind, like Unreal Tournament, like, I never really thought about that, but that's an interesting thought. And if he doesn't like it, that's, who knows? Okay, fair enough. I never even thought about that. I only played all the way through 5 once. Halo 3's campaign felt a little flat to me. Yep, hasn't even been nearly as replayable. I think Halo 3 is very replayable. I mean, I will always say, as much as I think Halo 3 is surface level boring, it's why I would recommend. If anyone's like, I'm only going to play one Halo game, what should I play? I'll recommend Halo 3. Because it is that surface level, it's easy to understand, and I think it has some of the most replayable, fun moments in Halo. So, Halo 2 doesn't stand up to 3 in any area except story. I actually kind of agree. I think Halo 3, I don't like the phrase doesn't stand up. I think Halo 3 just iterated on Halo 2 stuff and just did it better, which is hopefully what most games do in general. So, the direction 343 took with the series was the direction Bungie set in Halo 4 and 5 are extrapolations of trends set by Halo 3 and Halo Reach. He's not entirely wrong. I mean, the direction Bungie set was kill the franchise, so I don't know if I agree there. But I don't disagree that I think if Bungie was to continue working, I don't think they would have done anything. I think Bungie would have made games similar to 4 and 5 than I think people give 343 credit for. Look at Destiny, right? There is actually surprisingly a lot of similarities between them. So, I think recently, even though I'm not a fan of 4, I think it has my favorite opening mission in the series. Interesting. What is my favorite opening mission? I love Sierra 117. I actually really do like Halo 3. I think it's just a gorgeous level to open the game with, so. I generally don't see why Prometheans won't be in Infinite. There hasn't been any mention that they won't be. I agree on that one. I would be surprised if we didn't get some kind of Promethean. I hope we see like a new kind of Promethean, like a new Forerunner species, or who knows, man. I would love to see new kinds of characters. Oh. That's my hope. New characters outside of Forerunners. Halo 2 Anniversary is the perfect one to remake. Everyone says. I mean, I don't think anyone says this. I agree. It's definitely a lot better than Halo 1, yeah. Just the layout of how it looks and everything, but I mean, it is a shot-for-shot remake. Like, it's not, they didn't change anything, so. Reach is a masterpiece? Okay, fair. Whatever you say. Reach is as good as Halo 3? Yeah, I think Reach is better than Halo 3. Halo 4 multiplayer is better, in your opinion, than Halo 3 multiplayer. Certain aspects, the hit detection is better. I don't know if I agree with the other stuff, so. Emil is better than Chief. I mean, he's just more of a badass, fucking, of course, but I disagree. I think Chief is, I think we truly haven't seen Chief go full badass mode yet. I think the closest we got was his fight with Locke, but I don't think we've seen Chief in its final form yet. I think Chief has been going easy on the Covenant and everyone since the beginning. I don't think we've seen what Chief can truly do. 2 and Reach are easily top 2 Halos. Okay. 3 multiplayer is garbage and worst in the franchise. I don't think it's the worst in the franchise. I'm not, again, I actually really enjoy, I'm having fun, but I have one big problem with Halo 3, and it really hurts the games for me. Halo Infinite is gonna be fine. I am excited. I think Halo Infinite is. I think people are underestimating how Infinite is gonna be good. I have a lot of hope and a lot of. I have a lot of. Yeah, I'm really excited. Halo 3 is awesome. Lots of people disagree. I disagree on that one. I think from the internet, at least, most people tend to think Halo 3 is the best. So I don't know if I agree with that take. That as being a hot take. Halo 2 is the worst campaign in the saga. There's a lot of that, I'm actually surprised. There's a lot of Halo 2 is the worst campaign. I wonder why that is. I wonder why people don't like the Halo 2 campaign. I'm curious. Worst of the game is superb. I'm not a Halo fan. Man, how many of these do I got? Oh, God, dude, there's so many. What the fudge? Okay, you know what? We might have to rapid fire these. This video is going to go on forever. Wow. Okay. Hold up. All right, here's the end. Oh, Jesus. Oh, man. I am not. All right, we're going to rapid fire these. We got the videos made. We're done. Because with Jesus Christ. All right, here we go. Oh, my God. ODST is the best campaign. I think it's a great campaign. It's different. I like open world. I think we'll see a lot of that influence in Infinite, but I actually think it's a very good vibe. It's a great vibe campaign. If you want to play a good chill campaign, it's great. Combat Anniversary to the classic version in almost every conceivable way. CEA just feels more Halo to me. That's an interesting take. I thought Halo CE Anniversary looked fine. I know a lot of people disagree. It's built on the Reach engine. I think it looked fine. Reach is one of the worst Halo games. I love it, but it's probably one of the fun. Okay, don't know if I don't think it's the worst. Halo 3 is overrated multiplayer. Agreed! I really don't think Reach's multiplayer is very good aside from customs and invasion. Customs! Ooh, I should have said, yeah, Halo Reach customs, I think Halo Reach had also the best customs. Good infection, good SWAT, good customs. Good theater mode. And good MLG playlist with Zero Bloom. So, if you had Zero Bloom, I thought it was good. Halo 5 is the highest skill ceiling in the whole series and was the most fun to watch. I think there's a lot of truth to this. I know a lot of people disagree, but it's a byproduct of simply that Halo 3 has more movement, more weapons, and a more balanced almost gunplay system where you did see people using light rifles and stuff. When you watch Halo 3 multiplayer, it's battle rifles all day long. That's all you see. You don't see people picking up shotguns, maulers. You don't see any of that shit. It's snipers, rockets, battle rifles. That's the entire gameplay. With Halo 5, I see people using plasma pistols. I see people using light rifles. I see people switching to DMRs. I see people switching weapons, trying out different things, and railguns and all that different jazz. So, and I think the movement in general automatically means it has a higher skill ceiling. Again, doesn't necessarily mean it's more competitive, but it does have a higher skill ceiling. I totally agree. I think it is one of the more higher skilled Halo games out there. 3 feels better and better each match. That's any game ever. The more you play it, the better it feels. The more you get used to it. CE is kind of bad. Least favorite. Don't care for multiplayer. Hey! Okay, fair enough. It's a big part, but hey, you don't have to. Some people don't care for campaign. CE is better atmosphere way than 3. Okay, fair enough. I mean, I think CE does. CE has a grandiose effect about it. So, big fan of 3 for 3 art design. I agree. I don't think it's better than the original, but act like it. Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think it's better than the original necessarily, but I like it. Performing 4 to 5, while Melee 5 is overall superior game. Fair enough. Apparently thinking Halo 5 is trash for having a trash story. Halo 4 to 5. I think there are aspects of 5 that multiplayer that are better than. I think 5's multiplayer is better than 4. Aside from the Halo 4 having the best villain, I fucking hate the game. I mean, Halo 4, the Didact is a pretty bad villain in my opinion, but okay, whatever. I think he was a very boring. He did some things that were interesting, but he was boring. Happy early Mother's Day. Well, happy early Mother's Day to you. That's a good take as well. CE's not a good game. All right, we're gonna start skipping because I don't even. Oh God, I don't even. Are we done yet? not a good game by current standards. I agree. I think we're seeing that a lot, actually. Really wish if I play like Halo 4s, in your opinion. Oh, Halo 4 had the most balanced... Hell no! That is a lie. Dude, the fucking bolt shot was overpowered as shit. Binary rifle, insta-kill shot right from the gun, hit scan insta-kill, and instant cannon? Absolutely not. I disagree with that full-heartedly. There was a lot of overpowered shit in Halo 4. Really like 4, but I didn't like Halo 2's multiplayer because it feels so... Age 4 is inferior compared to the effort campaign. A lot of people don't like the Halo 2 Anniversary multiplayer. I like it better than Halo 2 Classic, to be honest. Here's the spicy one that Halo can be, while I love it, is constantly out to destroy itself. I agree. Seems like most fans' natural interest is to pick each other apart. I agree. I think this is very true. I think people just don't respect opinions and don't be like, okay, yeah, whatever, man. I actually like everything Halo ever released. Yes, custom loadouts could actually be good. Okay. I like... Oh, okay. Sprint. Projectiles are better than hit scan. I mean, overall in gaming, I agree with this. Halo, I think I like hit scan better. Depending on the weapon. Again, typically plasma weapons are projectiles, and Promethean weapons. Military weapons are hit scan in Halo. So, but I like hit scan. I hate the combo of the two. When they do Halo 3 projectile hit scan bullshit, yeah, fuck that noise. But yeah, I think Halo, I actually prefer hit scan. Halo 3's multiplayer is dog shit unless you play Fiesta. I hate Fiesta in Halo 3. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't think there's a lot of interesting weapons. Halo 3 is overhyped. Agreed. I'm a fan of Halo 5's enhanced movement. I feel the only thing let down is the story. I agree. I think Halo 5 movement is actually kind of interesting. I think it's just different. I don't think it's necessarily better. I think it's just different. Invasion is boring. Disagree. Invasion is great. I miss it a little bit, but I also don't play it in Reach on MCC because it's ranked, and I just don't want to deal. Halo 4 sucks. I know it's not as good as the previous Aliens, but I still think it's good. Oh, okay. He likes Halo 4. I mean, I agree. Still don't like Reach and never will. There's something. I don't like the Halo Reach story all that much. Halo 4 story's ass. No, it isn't! Games in the series where you mainly play as Chief are less interesting than ones you play as other characters. Nah. I mean, I understand this perspective, but I think playing the Arbiter in Halo 2 is great. I actually liked playing as Locke here and there, and I think he can work. I think they just messed up with the ratio. I think they should have more Chief missions than Locke missions, but they went the opposite way, and I didn't like that. But I actually do like where you get to play as other characters. Halo 4 is arguably one of the best games in the series, and it's Chief's best-looking suit armor. Agreed! Bungie era is great, but people need to move the fuck on. Yes! Please! Stop sucking their dick! Bungie's moved on. You need to move on now. Fucking move on from the series. Move on from Bungie. Bungie has... God, I hate Bungie. There are a lot of things I do not like about Bungie. A lot of things. I mean, Bungie is a good company, and they put out really good work, but man, there's a lot of things of how they treat their community, how they talk about things, how they... I really don't like a lot of aspects of Bungie. Advanced movement is good for Halo Sandbox. I'm indifferent to that. Halo 4 had some of the best moments Chief had by far. I agree. I think Halo 4 did have some of the best Chief moments. Like Go Cortana to Del Rio. Oh god, yeah, dude. There's so many good sequences in Halo 4. Personally prefer 4 over 3. I mean, I do. Like it 343's games. Agreed. Halo 3 is overrated. Agreed. Halo 4 is better than CE. I don't know. Again, you see me. I honestly like the CE speedrun. Honestly, more than pretty much any... Halo CE speedrun is fucking hard now. Admitting they all have flaws. Yeah, dude, they all have flaws and they're all good. Agreed. Halo 2 is the best Halo. Halo 4 is a masterpiece. Multiplayer is alright, not horrible. Sprint in Halo is a good thing. Halo 3 multiplayer is great, but not the peak of Halo multiplayer. Halo 3 multiplayer is great, but not the peak of Halo multiplayer. That'd be Reach, in his opinion. Ooh, I like this guy's takes. Halo 4 isn't all that bad. Infinite graphics look okay at reveal. This is my man right here. This person's getting a follow. I'm following them just for that. a fucking great. I love it. Halo 2 is a 6 out of 10. Okay, well, now you just ruined it with that. I mean, I disagree there. But Halo 4's campaign and story are bad. Disagree. Halo Reach is overrated. The characters are boring and felt nothing for there's deaths. Agreed. CE is the most competitive 2v2, skillful, and thought-provoking game. Possibly the FPS genre. Yeah, that is unpopular Halo. I totally agree. I don't agree with that. Look, there things are a lot more. There's a difference between, I think people are mistaking competitive and skillful with hard and knowledgeable, right? Like, it's just people who are insanely knowledgeable about how CE functions at its core and understand how to play the game, which is at its core is very hard to understand the movement and the hit detection and how aiming and stuff works. Doesn't mean it's competitive or skillful. It just means it takes more time and understanding of the sandbox than the other ones. So I think there's a misstep with calling it competitive, skillful, and confusing it with hard and knowledgeable. So this image still gets me hyped for Halo 2. There's no image attached to this. Oh, I'm guessing the image up there. So I don't even remember what it is. Halo 4 is my favorite in the series. Okay. That it could do with a movement overhaul with the player and enemies. Keep the purpose as chess pieces, but expand the board with the options each piece has. Infinite seems to be doing that to a degree. I don't really know what that means, but I guess just having characters that move differently, like having buggers brought in where they fly around and do stuff rather than just lumbering enemies that go from place to place. Being Master Chief of the campaign, it feels familiar. Arbiter was great as well because he plays the enemy. Halo 5 campaign is more, if it was more completely Master Chief based than that is. Side campaign giving entirely Locke's perspective. Yeah, kind of agree. I agree from that. Totally with you. They could have broken it up into two campaigns. That could have worked really well. Two campaigns, Locke's perspective, Chief's perspective. That actually could have been really good. Done some Sonic Adventure 2 shit. Halo 5 is actually the best Halo game so far. Or I hate Reach, but this opinion wasn't quite unpopular back when the game came out, so I don't know if it still comes out. It's true. Now people are like, whatever. Halo 3's graphics art style was underwhelming. Now, I just agree there. Halo 3 has some of the best looking art, man. At this point, I was popping the distance saying, this is it? What the fuck are you talking? Bro, I think this person is forgetting. I feel when you loaded up Halo 3, you're like, wow, this is incredibly beautiful. Halo 3 was the best looking game of its generation, I think. So, I think he's just forgetting what he remembered how it looked, because it looked really good. Halo Wars 2 deserves basic balance support bugs fixes. Yeah, they've kind of abandoned Halo Wars, and I agree. They should fix some stuff. Give 343 a chance. They've kind of already been given a chance, but, you know, I get if people don't like it. Don't like Halo 3. Sergeant Miranda Keyes would have worked better as a composite character. One person with the personality traits and the other elements of both. And other elements of both. Oh, they wanted to combine Johnson and Miranda Keyes. Okay. I mean, the thing is, Johnson was introduced in the first game. Keyes was introduced in the second game. So they kind of had to have to, but I actually kind of, I could see that work. Nothing is more pure than the Halo games themselves and should bend nothing else. And should bend to nothing else. Too much focus on lore actually holds Halo back. Which is why I hope, you know, Halo Infinite being a spiritual successor, I think they're doing that. They're going to ignore the books. They're going to ignore the previous extra lore. They're going to focus on a little bit of what Halo 5 talked about, but really just go back to its roots. So, 3 actually has a good story. Ha! Well, you guys know how I feel about that one. Surface level bullshit! I personally don't enjoy Halo 3's story that much. Yeah, the set pieces are incredible. The story doesn't sit well. Agreed. Halo C's second half is really bad. I think there are parts of CE that are bad, but I don't know if it's just the second half. Halo Reach without Bloom would have been the best Halo multiplayer. It is! Man! Fucking play the ML... Did no one play the MLG playlist? God, it was so good. Anniversary is awesome remastered. Sure, Sprint is valuable ability for new heroes. I like running, but at the same time, I see why people don't like it. Okay, Reach is not needing to be like the book, have a good story, not needing to look like... or liking the books in general. Diehards tend to forget Halo was more popular by the games. The books just follow a popular proxy. I I don't know. I mean, I don't know if people disagree with that, but yeah. Hate Halo 3. Reach's sandbox is incredibly weak and nothing really redeems it. So the Halo 4. I mean, Halo 4 has a really interesting sandbox. I don't agree with that one. Halo Reach had some crazy bolt shot binary rifle instant cannon, overpowered as shit. The plasma pistol was pretty good. They actually had Needler was very powerful. Honestly, as a speedrunners, Halo 4 sandbox was good. Reach, I agree to an aspect. I think Reach had really balanced sandbox, but I don't know. I don't know if I agree. I don't think Reach multiplayer didn't have any. No, I mean I saw shotguns, I saw needle rifles, I saw needlers, plasma pistols. I saw it all, so I don't know if I agree with that. Halo 5 is the best of the series. ODST is better than them all. Okay, fair enough. Do you. No playable elites is a total non-issue. Agreed! Who the fuck cares? Go put that effort into something else that's more interesting. Halo 5's campaign was mere sense than Halo 3. Makes more sense than Halo 3, okay. To an extent, I agree. Halo 4 is better than people say. Great. Sprint is great. Okay. Find CE the weakest in the franchise. God, I still have so much. Surprising that the original trilogies are masterpieces. Man, we should just finish this video, huh? Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I totally agree, Cash. If they just had no Bloom instead of this title update Bloom or whatever, I think if they just got rid of Bloom and Reach, it would be really good. Weakest to the franchise. I mean, yeah, there's a lot. Surprising the original trilogy are masterpieces. I downvoted for saying that. What? Okay. I don't think anyone disagrees. While being my favorite was a huge downgrade in storytelling from 2. Agreed! Reach and 4 in my favorite games of the series. Don't understand why they hate. The Flood are not fun to fight and never were. I actually enjoy the Flood now, but I was fine when they left. I was indifferent to the Flood. I always have been indifferent. If they have Flood and Infinite, I'll be like, okay. If they don't have it, I'll be like, okay. I don't really care. I have no real feeling about the Flood. It's like the Prometheans, like, If they got rid of elites and grunts and brutes, that's when I'd be like, okay. I'm a little upset. Just as good as Combat Evolved. Alright. H4's story is bad. Disagree. Started playing 8v8 multiplayer in 1, 2, 3 in Reach, and I think Sprint is a good idea in future Halo games now. Agreed. Halo Reach has some bad voice acting, but great gameplay. I don't know. I've never really paid attention. Usually it's something I pay attention to, but I don't know if I agree with that. Maybe a little bit in some things, yeah. I always forget that 6 actually talks on the occasion. Halo 3 is fantastic, but overrated, and Halo 2 Anniversary is peak classic Halo gameplay. Okay. Actually functions properly and spawns aren't atrocious. Yeah! I mean, the spawns are still pretty bad, but at least hit registration actually functions in Halo 2. I agree. That's why I like Halo 2 Anniversary a lot. It feels weird on mouse and keyboard, but some things that fandom works themselves up into rage over don't really matter. Agreed. Like elites. Who the fuck cares? But they work themselves into a tizzy. Sprint button was a good addition. The other games can feel really slow. I'm a Halo... there's a lot of other reasons, but I do agree to that. I'm a Halo fan since OG Halo. I like the changes to combat that Halo 5 made, especially Sprint. Hey, yeah, see, I'm with him. I've been playing Halo since Halo CE, and I'm indifferent. I like Sprint. I don't care. I don't really like Halo, and I realize just saying this is putting a mark on for the FBI. Don't like Halo. Yeah, fair enough. Maybe it's not your kind of thing. Lore and world building in the books is what made me love the games. Oh, fair enough. I mean, a lot of times extended lore is what really creates approaches a lot of interesting concepts. Relatively new to Halo, only jumped in when MCC came to PC, so since I've never had an Xbox, but I find Halo fans get twisted over the smallest things. Changed a rocking campaign, Halo is dead. Yeah, that is something that literally has happened, so fair enough. Halo 2 on Legendary is really fun experience. Yeah, okay. I mean, I think a lot of people disagree with that, so I see that. But hey, man, I'm a Legendary guy, so I agree. 3-story franchise is better. Is my favorite in the franchise, and I just found everything about the story is satisfying and fit. Fucking surface ass level human. Halo has been better without the Flood. I don't know if I agree with that one. I actually really like the flood. I think they added some interesting elements. So, reaching for overrated. Okay, wow. I don't like Halo 2's campaign. Story's great, arguably the best, but the level design is boring. Yeah, I don't agree. I think there's some cool. Regret is a great level. Spin-offs have been constantly better than the newer games. This is a take. He hates the main games and he likes the spin-offs. Anniversary 2, Anniversary, so MCC and Anniversary. I mean, MCC had issues at the beginning, but Fireteam Raven, I mean, I agree. I like Fireteam Raven, but fair enough. Love 4's multiplayer. 29 days into it. That's a little bit of time. It's nothing. Halo 3 multiplayer is old, and the advanced movement mechanics is essential in keeping high skill gap. I actually agree to this. I love Halo 4's multiplayer. Halo 4's multiplayer was fine. I gotta play a day early. I hit the first ever Ricochet Collateral. Halo 4 loadouts was an amazing addition and should be kept in its own playlist. Yeah. I don't think Halo needs that. Blue Beetle. Ooh, they might have a new thing going on. 343 has done a good job, but the franchise should have ended with 3 ODST and Reach. Well, if it was up to Bungie, it would have ended with 3. So, never said, but honestly, it would be fine with Infinite looking like it did with the last July. Yeah, I mean, I like that they're changing some things. I wanted more vibrancy, but hey, I like the way it looks. I'm happy that they're changing it to make it even look better, but I think it was always going to look better. I think, again, the July thing, I think, was blown out of proportions for a game that was still in alpha, you know? So Halo 5 is the best multiplayer in the series. Okay, fair enough. There should be a forklift with a gun on it. Lol. I think that's just a good take. I don't know who wouldn't want that. See, multiplayer hasn't aged well. Agreed. It's the only 2 multiplayers I turn off when playing MCC. I like Sprint, and Clamber. No boost. Fair enough. Yeah, get rid of Thruster Pack. Make it an equipment. We've done enough? I know. You know what? We're done. We're done. Guess what? Oh, here we go. Here's the thing. Oh, we're not that far. We're not that far. We just got fish. God, this is going to be such a long video. This was not at all how I thought this was going to go. So, rapid fire. Oh, God. Why did I do this video? This has been, what, 2 hours long? Way longer than I thought it'd be. Let's finish it. Halo 5's movement tricks, while not for me, are akin to Halo 2's button combos. I agree. I actually 100% agree with this. Button combos are stupid because they're glitches. And they're not supposed to be in the game. And saying that they take more skill is, like, okay, sure, yes to a degree, but it's like Super Smash Bros. Melee with, dashing and edge grabs and stuff like that, like wave dashing and all. It's the same thing. It's a glitch, and yes, it takes more skill, but that doesn't mean it should be in the game. So, H5 is now just mobility with it. Cut out the ones with the same takes. Oh, that's, yeah, so much more work. And I didn't even record it, but I might. Oh, that's okay. I can do it otherwise. The new Warthog isn't better than the original designs. I get why people like the new one. I mean, I think a lot of people like the old one better. I don't know what's the common one, but I like the new one. Sprint will stay forever in Halo, even if I'm not a fan, but it's a fact. I agree. Sorry, it's going to be. Stop trying to get rid of Sprint. It's going to be in it. Fucking suck it up and move on to something a little bit more interesting that can actually change. The voice actor for Change for Truth completely killed his character. Oh. I mean, I'll be honest, I forgot that was even a thing, so. Hate that Mike Coulter wasn't actually the voice actor for Locke. I like Ike Amati, but man, I like Mike Coulter. I think that playing as Arbiter in Halo 2 was the wrong direction for the game. I mean, I think it made sense because the game is actually about Arbiter, but that's fine. 3 multiplayer suck. Yeah! Halo 5 is probably the best shooter in the entire generation with the permission of Doom Eternal. An excellent game, but with a bad narrative. Yeah, I agree to that to an extent. Even though I think Halo 2 is the best of the franchise, the second half of the campaign does bore me quite a bit. Fair enough. Still has the best. Still has the best function in multiplayer. Oh, Halo in general just has the best multiplayer. I think Halo has a multiplayer that we don't see that often anymore these days. So the arena style shooter that is Halo, yeah, we don't get that a lot, and I think Halo it has a niche, and I think it's a very good niche to hold. So some Halo fans are too nostalgic for the old days. Agreed. Halo 5, including Warzone, is the most diverse in the series. Yeah. I really like Prometheans, especially how fucked up the origins are. I like the Prometheans too. I'm just saying, a lot of people don't like how to fight them because the bullet sponge, but I actually love, especially in Halo 5, where they create all these like fast strats, and I think it's coming from a speedrunner. They added all these like methods and like knowing what weapons work best. It was like noob combo. Knowing the noob combo against elites and brutes and stuff, or using the needler in Halo Reach, like knowing that information, I think is interesting. So knowing that the best weapons against Prometheans are like bolt shots and suppressors and their own guns, and using the quick kill methods for knights and stuff, I think it was really interesting. So the only good way, in Halo 4 they were a bit more annoying. So bubble shields and sprint are amazing. I hate bubble shields. But sprint is fine. Halo Reach is immensely fun Halo game. Fantastic campaign. I love using the jetpack, whether it's in firefighting matchmaking. Jetpack is good. Jetpacks are always good. They're great for speedrunners. It was a fun campaign. Story was, lackluster, but like Halo 4, that's the one thing people keep bashing on. 343 is giving PC special treatment. A good example is Halo MCC on Xbox versus MCC on PC. Xbox doesn't get all the options PC gets, like volume mixer. Well, I mean, that's always the case. Sorry, but Xbox doesn't have the capabilities to have all the options that MCC does. That's the tip of the iceberg. I'm afraid that this is continuing into Halo Infinite, where Xbox becomes an afterthought. I mean, there is a worry about that, but that's also not how that works. The studio has two teams. They have a team working on the Xbox version, and they have a team working on the PC version. And then, there's some collaboration between the two. But I don't, like, I understand this worry, but that's how PC games work. First off, PCs just automatically have more options and more customizability than Xbox does because of how the games are built and the kind of devices you're running them on. So yes, it's definitely going to have less options, but they're not like forgetting Xbox. They're talking with some people at the studio. PC, they are putting a lot of effort into, I will say. I think weirdly enough, the thing that they're putting the quote unquote least amount of effort into is the Xbox Series X. They want the Xbox One version to be really good. They don't want it to be a Cyberpunk issue. They don't want Cyberpunk to be they don't want Halo Infinite to end up like Cyberpunk. So they're really caring about older generation, and they're also really caring about PC. But again, they have teams working on each version of the game. So Battle Royale is just another game mode. No need to be choosing sides once Infinite gets it. Yeah, that's go watch my video on that. Halo 4 multiplayer is my favorite. I like big team battles. Hoping they bring back those big battles in Infinite. The DMR was my weapon of choice. Okay, Halo Reach was the most fun campaign. 3 is the best piece. Well, there you go. I finished it. We're done. I want to finish this video. Please, I want to move on. God, this was so much longer than I thought it was going to be. I didn't even have any of that crazy reaction. Is this even a good video? Am I even going to put this out there? I don't know, man. I don't know if this was a good video. Did I even have any good reactions? I think I had some interesting concepts I talk about, but it's not like I was like, ooh, look at this take. I mean, I laughed at a few of them, but anyways, though, that's the video. We're done. Do like, subscribe, do all that. I don't care. I want to go. I want to play video games now. I don't want to do this. All right, bye.